Hi, Claire here. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Claire Ridgway and I've written quite a few books on Anne Boleyn and I run the Anne Boleyn Files. And today, this is a very Anne Boleyn focused video. For in around late 1529, early 1530, during the Great Matter, which was Henry VIII's quest for an annulment of his first marriage to Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, the woman whom he was courting, adopted the motto Ainsi, sera, groigne, which roughly translates from French, and that was very bad French I did there, to let them grumble. This is the way it's going to be. Anne had her servant's livery embroidered with the motto, which the late historian Eric Ives believes to have been inspired by an imperial motto, which Anne would have known from her time with Margaret of Austria, the motto being groigne qui groigne, et vive Bourgogne. Now, Anne Boleyn's let them grumble motto was very short-lived, but it appears on a piece of linen embroidered in silk, which is thought to have been part of a cupboard cloth, a cloth on which objects were displayed. According to popular legend, it was embroidered by Anne Boleyn's mother, Elizabeth Boleyn, née Howard, who played chaperone to Anne when Henry VIII was courting her. The cloth has an oval design with the motto displayed in its border, and in the middle is an image of Anne Boleyn's white falcon, which came from her Irish butler ancestry. And this falcon is pecking at a pomegranate, which is the symbol of Catherine of Aragon, who was, of course, opposing the annulment of her marriage and being an obstacle in Anne and Henry's way to happiness. Anne's falcon is also depicted perched on a stock or tree stump, a Plantagenet badge, from which red and white roses spring, symbolising Anne bringing fertility to Henry VIII's previously barren stock. The falcon on the stock was a badge that Anne also used at her coronation in 1533. But then the bird was also holding a sceptre and wearing an imperial crown, symbolising Anne's legitimacy as queen, her God-given authority, and the couple's imperial ambitions. The falcon pecking the pomegranate also appears in a music book linked to Anne. The fragment of cupboard cloth was found in the mid-17th century during restoration work at Greenwich Palace. It was hidden behind some panelling. It's not complete, but it is wonderful that it survived all that time. As I said, let them grumble was a very short-lived motto, perhaps because it wasn't seen as very appropriate. And obviously the falcon pecking the pomegranate is rather spiteful and perhaps not very queenly. But Anne went on to use the falcon in a different way, and her motto changed to the most happy. Now, why am I talking about this motto and badge for you today? Well, let me tell you a story. Back in August of this year, 2021, I was doing a book launch and a talk with my dear friend Dr. Owen Emerson at Hever Castle for our book, The Boleyns of Hever Castle. Now, in the run-up to this book launch, I was really excited about it. I knew my stuff. I knew I could talk about the Boleyns all night. But I had this niggling doubt, a chink in my armour of confidence. My sister-in-law's friend offered to give me a session of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, just to help me sort of regain my previous confidence. So I took her up on the offer. The NLP session uncovered my confidence, it brought it back to me, my belief in myself, and it was apparent that I truly believed that I was an expert on the Boleyns and that this topic was my passion. But it also uncovered how previous toxicity, some online hate, had affected me and brought me down. Ivana, the NLP practitioner, explained that every time I gave any attention to this online hatred, this toxicity, the low energy of that person or people affected my higher energy and brought me down. Ivana asked me if what these people said or did had any real bearing on me and what I did. And the answer was, of course, no. So Ivana said, why waste any time or energy on it then? It was surely best to focus on my work and the people that mattered. As she said that, and I had to imagine this was part of the NLP session, I had to imagine one particular person that had upset me getting smaller and smaller to the size of an ant. The words that sprang to my mind so clearly were Anne's own words. Let them grumble. That's the way it's going to be. Anne Boleyn's first motto. I could understand why Anne, who was encountering so much hatred at the time, used that motto in a moment of defiance. The haters were going to hate, but she was going to keep on doing what she was doing. And I love that bit of insight into how Anne Boleyn was feeling, the defiance, the spite, the spirit behind it all. It's oh so human, and we don't often get that insight into a historical character. Obviously, as I explained, Anne was persuaded to use a more queenly motto, and I think letting go of the haters and their effect on her did help her to move on to being the most happy. Letting go of the toxicity that I've encountered in the past and not letting it get to me today has been so refreshing for me. I love what I do. I'm loved and respected by those I care about. I write for my audience, not for everybody. I can't please everyone. And I don't need the approval of people who can pour out scorn, bitterness, hatred, and disapproval. Let them grumble. I think it's a valuable lesson that we can all learn from Anne's motto, isn't it? While I continue to encounter online toxicity today, and I will in the future, I now feel able to let it go, for it to have no effect on me. And I tend to only get involved if it's aimed at others, if it's bullying or bigotry. I have zero tolerance for that. I've learned that the haters are going to hate. I can't control them or their actions, but I can control my response to it, the effect it has on me, and I choose to let them grumble while I continue to be the most happy in what I do. Now, I've marked this revelation, this life choice, with a tattoo. Sorry, Mum. My tattoo, which I will show you shortly, is copied from the cupboard cloth. So it's copied from the embroidery that was made for Anne Boleyn. But as that was damaged, torn, it was a fragment. Tim, my husband, has worked hard at making it complete so that I could take the image to the wonderful Vicen, a local tattooist. And I'll let Tim explain what he did before I do the great reveal.
Claire asked me to look at the original cupboard cloth and see if I could turn it into an image suitable for a tattoo artist. So as you can see here, this is the original image, which is quite damaged. It's been cut around at some point in its life and it's been folded together, but the actual lines are incredibly clear and crisp. So I started off by masking the image, which means getting rid of the black bits around the edge so that I could start with just the center section. And then I turned the image black and white because Claire wanted a black and white tattoo, not a colour tattoo, as you can see here, but there's still grey. So then I used level adjustments, which basically get rid of those grey areas which are not needed, but leave you with nice dark black areas. And at this point I could start looking at which parts of the image had to be repaired because of damage through the past. The first area I worked on was the Tudor rose, and that basically involved me copying and pasting and rotating the sections that were existing and making a good guess as to where the rose would have been originally. Then onto the leaf, which is also cut in half, and for that I basically hand drew the top section of it, again making a guess as to what could have been there before. The butterfly was fairly straightforward and just needed some of the fold marks to be removed and cleaned up on it. The crown was an interesting one, because obviously the top of the crown was not there in the original image. So I had to go and have a look at the Edward crown and decided that that was probably what it was based upon. And so hand drew in the top cross section and completed in the left-hand part, which was missing in the original image. Then the centre section needed to be cleaned up because of the folds and the rips in the cloth and some parts which had not been cleaned up by my level adjustments. So I set to work cleaning up the falcon in the centre. As you can see here, it's a lot cleaner. There are no sections which are now kind of what I would call dirty on it. And then finally, with the image, was just a case of generally cleaning up any extra parts that there were, closing in any lines around the edge, where the folds had been, and just making it so that it was a nice clean image ready for the tattoo artist to put onto Claire's arm.
So here is the tattoo. It is in the healing phase as it's only a few days old. It stretches right round to there to another tattoo I've got. And you can see that it's a perfect copy of the embroidery, but with these bits complete. So yes, a little bit scabby at the moment. And I know there will be some people online who don't approve of me having this tattoo. But as an amazing woman once said, a woman who I admire so much, let them grumble. I really am the most happy with it, and it will be such a reminder to me as I move forward in my work. And a big thank you to you all for the constant encouragement that you give me. It is very, very much appreciated. Thank you. You can subscribe to this channel by clicking round about there. You can, of course, hit the like button, especially if you like the tattoo. You can also leave me a comment telling me what you think of this talk and what you think of my tattoo. And you can hit the bell as the bells ring out to receive notifications. So I do hope you like it. Perhaps I'll get Tim to do a nice photo of it as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.